Well, hello again, everybody. This is Mosk, Tony, Verisimiladude, whatever. Um, I promised I would do a video describing exactly how my setup works. So here it is. So this video is directed at multiboxers, and it's not really for non-multiboxers, because there's going to be a lot of technical stuff. Make sure free to watch it if you want to learn, and I'll field questions, on the forums, whatever, if you need some help. So, anyone who's used ISBoxer a little bit knows that this is a DX nothing window here, and this is the DX nothing window here. So the idea with the DX nothing windows is they conserve computer resources. If I tried to replicate this on top of an actual game window instead of using a DX nothing window, it just totally bogs out my computer. So that's why I use the DX nothing windows to display all this stuff. So what you're seeing here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close the bottom one, and then I'm going to move, well, we'll look at it and then I'll move it over so you can kind of see what it looks like. So what you see here is an individual slice of their overview settings, and all it is the icon tab, and it's just so that I know that they're all, like if they're traveling, that they're all in the same system, or if I was targeting something, that they're all targeting the exact same thing. And that's really all it does. The other huge thing that it does is when you're on the combat tab and there's a whole bunch of rats here, when they get targeted, when you get red box or yellow boxed, it displays here. So you'll see an entire column light up with red brackets or yellow brackets letting you know that you're being targeted. And so then that's what these buttons here do. So those buttons, I'm gonna have to open up the bottom window to show you exactly what happens. So take a second. So when you click on one of these buttons, let's say the one button, this is a click bar. When you click on it, it sends, I think F11 to that individual character, so character 1. So that is this character. So when I click on it, it sends F1 to him, or F11 to him, which is his keybind. If you open it up under navigation, so F12. So when he needs shield, he just presses F12. So this sends F12 to him, this character right here, so he broadcasts, hey, I need shields. So down here you can see I have this is the fleet history window for my 4 logistics pilot. So this is my first logistics pilot. So if I open up the ISBoxer control panel, you can see that here I have a little window, just a little video effects feed, and all it is just sitting over just a little bit so I know which character it is. So this window here, you can see when I mouse over it, it sends mouse through. So from this DX nothing window, it's like I'm seeing just a little slice of this character's screen right here. So when guy 2 needs it, I can click there, and then guy 3, and then guy 4, and then guy 5, like that all the way down. So, oh gosh, it's super complicated. I know I'm kind of rambling. We'll get there. So this here is just their watch list. So this is their cap partner. So I can shift left click on each of these and they will lock up their cap partner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I just hit the cap, and hey, I got the cap buddies going. So now when, let's say number 5 was the guy that just got red boxed, so I shift click, shift click, shift click, shift click, and then they all lock him up, and then I can target him, and I manually control all the reps. So this is inconvenient compared to pre-nerf, pre-EULA change. It's inconvenient, but there's still really no... It's almost as fast. Like, instead of having all the guys turn on all of their reps at the same time, they're staggered, which actually isn't terrible, because you kind of want to stagger your reps anyways. So it does take up a fair bit of my concentration, like having to run the logistics, but I think that that's a small price to pay for like what you're generating overall. So that doesn't bother me. That's no big deal. So if you know how to set up video effects, like this stuff, all of this stuff is pretty trivial. So all this is a video effects feed here, and then all these are video effects feeds. That's all they are. These are all just feeds of their buttons, feeds of buttons, feed a watch list. This is a blank spot because two of my guys are only in Ospreys. They're not in Basilisks yet. So when they climb into their Basilisk, they'll get another button here. And then these are their target windows. You can see up here, if I show you the Icebox control panel, you can see I've just got a video effects feed that sits on top of their targets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, on and on and on. So there's no really tech behind that. That's just straight up Iceboxer video feeds. So what I wanted to show you guys is I guess I'm going to use the word tool, and I'm going to use it in lowercase. So it's not like a tool in Iceboxer. I just mean to say like a piece of technology that Iceboxer lets you do something, and then I'm going to show you how to replicate some of them. So I did that. So when I have to unlock, I'm going to do that real quick. I just control click on here, or I can control click here, and then here, so that they drop targets, and that's all it is. And actually, dropping targets is the safest thing to do when you're doing PvE, because it turns off all the reps, so instead of having to manually go in and click, 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 they never, like, target back on the same guy. I mean, it's PvE. Like, yeah, if I was in PvP, I would keep guys locked up, but no big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this window, and I'm going to move this window over, and I'm going to show you some stuff. So we're going to open up Iceboxer, go to my window layout, and then so it's 460 by 580. So we're going to drag it over here, and then we're going to make it wide. Alright, let's grab this guy. Oh man, I hate when that happens. Uh-oh, now we have a problem. Okay. So, what you're seeing, I've just made the DX Nothing window bigger so that I can grab the control panel and move it over, is... So all of these windows are, they're 23 pixels wide and they're 396 height. So in each of these guys' window, that's exactly how big the window is. That's just to keep the aspect ratio the same, so that they don't appear like pixelated or anything like that. And I specifically have repeater pass-through turned off, so that basically these are just, it's just looking at the slice. I'm not interested in like accidentally clicking here and having a bunch of guys go and click at different places. And then above that, what I have is, in order to control all the activated modules that aren't weapons, basically running upwards, what you'll see is like, so for character 20, this is his first tank module. Let's go to character 20 so you can see what happens. So I can turn on all of his stuff just by clicking through it like this. And so that's all it is. It's just video feed. There's no magic. There's no hinky stuff going on. And then this is just a click bar that I'm gonna go into Iceboxer and show you what it looks like. So that's all that you're seeing here. There's no super secret stuff going on. So I'm gonna close that, and I'm gonna make it the size that it's supposed to be. And unfortunately, let's see. What do we say? 460, I think. 460 by 580. Drag it over, and then export. Yay. Alright, so let's turn all my modules on real quick. So yeah, this is inconvenient. Like, it would be nice to just hit one button and send F whatever to all the characters, but you're talking like maybe like 30 or 45 seconds to turn them all on. And one cool thing about Eve is that things aren't usually so fast that like those few seconds it takes you to turn all your modules on makes such a huge difference. It's a little bit slower than other games, I would say in general. Not always, but awesome. So now all my modules are on. And I'm gonna wait for this module to... There we go. And then yeah, sometimes you miss them, but this way I can quickly see, like if say number 13 gets nuded out, I can see, oh, those are his modules right there, and I gotta turn them back on. So that just helps me keep track of like who's where, whose modules are on, whose modules are off, and whether or not they're being targeted. So, bam. Now I'm gonna go ahead and close this window, and I'm gonna open up the next one, because, well, we're gonna go in. That click bar that we were looking at, you go into click bars. It was called mini clickers. So you can see all it is just 20 of them running across. So one row of 20, they're 23 by 23. And then they all have a, when you left click them, it does broadcast 1 for number 1, do broadcast 2, broadcast 3, broadcast 4, like that. And then if you go into my key maps, you can see broadcast 1, 2, 3, 4 all the way through. And then all it does is send F12 to that guy, and then F12 to that guy, and F12 to that guy. So that's how I control, that's half of the logistics platform. Now we gotta open up, the other DX Nothing window, and then this is where there's more, we'll go with shenanigans there. Alright, so here, these are video effects of just the top part of their HUDs. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So when I click on it, it sends the broadcast. Right? Same as the mini clickers HUD, except in order to accomplish this, so that when you click a button and that video effects it does that, there's a click bar that's hidden underneath the video effects. So it is called HUDs. So you can see it's the exact same size. Each one is the exact same size as the video effects. So 5 by 4, and then when you left click on them, you get do broadcast 1, which is the exact same thing that the mini clickers does. This is legacy left over from pre-EULA change. I used to have a key map that would change where video effects came from, so that I could quickly change my leader. If somebody got blew up, I could quickly change a different guy so that they would all like be able to orbit him and stuff like that. But it doesn't work anymore. I don't use that stuff. So you can see what we'll do. We'll move this over a little bit. Well, we'll do it this way. We'll go to window layouts, and then we'll make the window a little bit bigger, so again you can kind of see a little bit more about what's going on. Export all. Alright, so when I hit and I open it up, you can see it's just a gigantic, like a shotgun of video effects feeds. So these are all the buttons that we talked about. Yeah, it takes a couple hours to set them up. And then over here you can see that the HUDs, like it sits on top of those video effects. But the way that Iceboxer reads it is video effects sits on top of click bars. So the click bar underneath the video effects is hidden, but when you left click on it, it still goes through. That's all it is. So these are basically the piece of tech that I wanted to really talk about and show you guys what I'm doing. what I will say is that I don't like the rollover. I found that rollover didn't function the way that I wanted it to always, because it didn't work 100% of the time, and that's frustrating. And there's also no way to make sure that when you're using rollovers, like sometimes you'll get a double click, or just in accidentally moving your mouse when you're doing a rollover, you might turn off a module that you really wanted to turn on. So that's really frustrating for me, and I'm all about precision and mustaches and whiskey and monocles. And that doesn't really work with the rollover. So what I did is I'm using my mouse wheel. So let's open up ISBoxer. So first, this is just a click bar, and what these click bars do is each one turns on a mapped key in ISBoxer. So by default, each one of these points to one mapped key. So by default, those mapped keys are off. When I click on them, it turns them on. And that's so that I can use the same keybind for this action, which is my mouse wheel down. Because otherwise, it would try and do all of them at the same time. So if you open up ISBoxer, my ISBoxer, not your ISBoxer, and go to, say for instance, we're going to do jump toggle. So you can see here, this button jump, if we go to rotations, buttons, click on the jump button, what it does is do jump toggle to self. So then when we go look at jump toggle, it's a two-step, and it does two things. So it changes this button to green to let me know that it's on, and it turns on jump rotation. And then the second time when you click it, it just turns it off. It changes it back to red, and then it turns jump rotation off. So that's all it does. It just toggles these buttons, the jump rotation, the gun rotation, drone rotation, and load rotation off. And you'll see how they're all keybound to mouse wheel down. But under the advanced tab, they all start off. So by default, none of them function. So if I mouse wheel down when I'm in the game, I just scoot into my character, and then mouse wheel out to scoot out. But when I click, say, jump for instance, it does the jump toggle, which turns this button on. So this button is a round robin rotation. There are 20 steps. So the first 19 are all the same. So it's F1 to 1, excuse me, F11 to 1, F11 to 2, F11 to 3, F11 to 4, F11 to 5. So when I turn it on, I can just mouse wheel down, and as I spin my mouse wheel, it goes F11, F11, F11 really quickly through all of the characters. So all the way down, and then this is the magic. So the first thing, this last step, again, it's one click. It still only sends one button to a single Eve client, so there's no multicasting going on here. However, it sends F11 to 20, so he gets the click, but then it also turns this key map, this mapped key off. So there's no chance for it to cycle back through to the beginning and go F11 again. So it's not just mindlessly spamming F11 through all of these windows. Instead, once it sends F11, once I've mouse wheeled enough to get all the way down to the bottom, it turns itself off, and then it changes the button back to red, and it turns the button off. So this turns it off. What this does is it sets the jump toggle back to step 1. Because otherwise jump toggle is hanging where the next press does this, so then you have to press it twice to get it to turn it back on. Whatever, that's a drop in the bucket. So anyways, I've set this exact rotation up for jumping, so jump, and then guns, I only have 14 guys that have guns, so it's the exact same setup where changes to green to let me know it's on, and then it turns the gun rotation on. And then when you look at gun rotation, it sends F8 to 1, F8 to 2, F8 to 3, and then all the way through until it gets to the last guy with guns. He turns his guns on. It sets the gun toggle to step 1. It changes the color to red to let me know that it's off, and then it turns gun rotation off so that I don't cycle everybody's shit back off. And then the drone is the drone's returning to the drone bay. So at the end of a sight, I can just click it really quickly. And then loading if I need to reload. So the setup I'm using, well, before I talk about any of that stuff, so that's basically all. That's the only thing in IS Boxer that has basically any sort of like tool building. Like there's no magic really going on behind the scenes except this tiny little portion. So instead of using rollovers, I'm just using the mouse wheel down. So what you're gonna see now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a sight while I'm recording, and I apologize in advance if I sound like I'm stupid and retarded. It does take a lot of concentration initially for me to do my setup, to get all the drones dropped and everybody's on and everything like that. But whatever, we'll deal with it. You'll deal with it. So before I do that, what I wanted to do is just kind of show you what my ships look like a little bit. So Huggin, whatever, that doesn't really matter, and then command ship doesn't really matter. So what you're seeing for my these are my rattlesnakes. So what I found is just with the drones that's fine damage, but they're using these rapid heavy launchers and with auto-targeting missiles. So that means I don't have to target on any of my guys. All I have to do is just turn them on. And once they're turned on, I'm done. They just sit there and they'll cycle through, they'll do 24 shots and then they'll reload, and that will normally take care of a lot of the frigates and some of the cruisers in each of the waves in these 20-man assaults. And yeah, I have one more launcher slot, but I found that I would prefer to have another Droneling augmenter rather than just have one Droneling augmenter. I find I'm more limited by my drone control range in some of these sites. And I'm using Gecko, so you know, I got 3 drone navs and the Omni. I found that using sentries was slower than having heavies, just because the geckos and heavies in general just apply damage so perfectly that even though you've got, like, say 6-second travel time for them to get to their next target, the auto-targeting missiles blow up all the stuff that's close, while my drones run out to the stuff that wants to orbit at 60 and they blow it up one by one. So like I said, site completion time's pretty good. I make maybe about 2 bill an hour depending on how many strongholds there are and whether or not I'm being distracted in the background. So that's basically the entire all of it. That's my setup. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna unlock these guys. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to show you guys before I actually go do a site. So broadcast. Oh yeah. So my tab key just rotates through my windows so that I can very quickly drop drones and then assist drones. And then that's all that button does. And then obviously you see mouse repeater and keyboard repeater on. These are just there so that I can log into the game very quickly. I don't. They're dangerous. I kind of want to unbind them, but at the same time, I'd rather not log into 20 characters one by one with control pasting my password. So that's all that those 2 things get used for. So we're gonna go ahead and do a site, and if you don't want to watch, don't watch. So click on the first guy. Excuse me. So click on acceleration gate, tab, acceleration gate. So all I'm doing is tabbing through and getting everybody to target the acceleration gate. So what I've noticed with the acceleration, or with my jump key, and this is ridiculously frustrating, is if your mouse isn't in your overview or on the selected item button, if you hit your keybind to jump, which for me is F11, you won't jump. It's stupid. So what I do two things. I go to my first character. I hit jump and mouse wheel down so everyone gets the jump and you see it's off. And then I manually tab through and make sure that everybody got the command to jump through the warp. You can see people are already warping off, but it looks like my mouse wheel down caught everybody. Alright, gonna orbit the beacon, switch to combat for everybody. And then you can see that 12 is my guy that's getting targeted. So give it a second, we gotta get that going. So I do really love shield chips, but I was living in wormholes and my guys were ready to do armor stuff. So I hit my regroup button a couple times so everybody's regrouping me, and he's just orbiting the beacon. And then I just tab through and drop all of my drones. Click back to the beginning, right click, assist 12, right click, assist 12. So what I'm doing while I'm assisting, I'm also waiting. Normally I get a target swap when I'm around character 8, which they just did. So broadcast 18 and 11. So you can see how the changes make certain things take more time, certainly, but not like such a huge difference that they broke multiboxing. I feel confident that I could do this in PvP too, especially in a situation where I have other Logi backing me up. So my 1, 2, and 3 button on my keyboard turns on my web, my target painter, and then my guns. So I just hit those really quickly, and now my assisted drones run off to blow up that Rami. And we got another target swap. That guy and that guy. So just swapping the Logi onto the right stuff. They like to do target swap. And you can see, like, it's totally inefficient to, like, I'm going back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of little things you could do to speed things up, but... so anyways, now you're going to see me turn on my guns. So you can see a couple of the guys, didn't turn them on. I gotta go manually turn that stuff on. And no, it's not perfect. Like, they don't all target the same thing. They're all running into different places. But it's at least applying damage. I mean, it's better than nothing. And it's certainly easier than trying to manually control it. Like, ridiculously easier than trying to manually control it. And I don't know why those 4 guys don't want to, Oh, because I never assisted them. That's why. It's weird. It's some sort of bug where if their drones aren't assisted, they don't read as having any sort of as like being in combat. So gonna go ahead and unlock my command chip too. regroup again. Sometimes the mouse I have randomly will double click. Well, that's weird. My boosts aren't working. Folk booster... Okay... Set wing booster. So now it should go out to 63 point something something. And of course the range with my missile skills right now is only like 47. So so normally if I wasn't talking to you guys and dealing with bugs, I would I would have used the drones to kill these guys that are sitting out here at like 61 or whatever. Okay, and now you can see I'm droning, or I'm webbing out to 62. It's only got Recon 3, or excuse me, Recon 4. So, with the gun you're seeing, one of the things I noticed that's really frustrating is if I wait for the web and the target painter to cycle, the drones will start to micro-warp drive back to me, which is terrible. It's really frustrating. So what I started doing... Oh, this guy didn't assist his drones! Those are the dangerous ones. They jam. Alright, we're gonna turn on the guns again. Yay, they all went. So you can see, when you mouse wheel down through it, it goes so fast that you can barely even tell the difference between like when they were all activated. So it's kind of frustrating because it almost looks like it's multiplexing, but it's not really. It's one single click goes to one single client. I mean, it's exactly what they said when CCP posted their the EULA changes and the kind of the intent behind them and stuff. So you can see I've locked up the guys that try and sit a little bit further out. And then when I would mouse down to, you know, when it would turn some on or off, I just do it by hand. It's no big deal. So you can see they started to MWD back to me because I wasn't fast enough, so I'm dealing with logistic stuff. So certainly, like, you know, there are a lot of inefficiencies when you're running and you're doing this by yourself. There's a lot of things that you have to pay attention to, but I have a lot of fun. Like, I find it to be challenging, and that's really important to me. Like, you know, when playing a game, you know, it's playing Eve with one character by yourself. I think is, you know, at this point I'm like spoiled multiboxing. I don't know if I could go back to playing any game solo, basically. See, that one I caught. Missiles going, and initially I was thinking, oh man, those rapid lights, that sounds terrible, but then I realized that it's actually kind of nice because they'll blow up the guys that are orbiting closely in like a cycle or 2 cycles, and then they'll be fresh for the next one. So I like them. It adds a lot of damage. Like, and yeah, I mean, these guys rep and stuff, but it's damage that you wouldn't be getting otherwise because there's too much stuff to try and handle while you're multiboxing. So there's basically no downside to doing it, even though it feels lazy to me. And now, at this point, all that is going on is just clean up. Like, now, you know, whatever, they're doing very little damage, and they're almost we're almost on to the next wave. Yeah, once the drones get dropped and the drones get assigned, it's pretty trivial. Like, you just kind of sit there and watch. And the only hard part is when a new wave comes out. That can be frustrating, but it's certainly not like hard. At least on the strongholds. I think it's the overwhelmed civilian. That one can be kind of tough. The cool thing about this wave is these guys, they try and rush into like 60, but everything else comes in really, really close. And because they spawn so far away, it gives you a really nice chance to get your logi going, so that you're totally ready, you know, before you can even target something and tell it to go attack. Alright, so then we pick our next guy. Yeah, I mean, there are some really frustrating things about using heavy drones with the micro-warp driving, but again, like, I use the sentries, and, you know, I gave it a try. Not happy. They just took forever to kill stuff, even though, you know, you get instant application. Instant application doesn't help as much when you're, you know, when you're not doing near as much damage. So and you can see that nothing is in gun range. So then I just kind of pick closest guy. So this delta, that's not what I wanted him to do. Well, I was going to use the missiles to blow up that delta, but it didn't work out. So instead, you're just going to see my drone slow boat. Yeah, this is my least favorite wave. The next one's pretty funny, though. It spawns really close. Yeah, it's funny that heavies doing this is still faster than sentries. It's pretty crazy. And also, picking up sentries at the end can be frustrating at times, because they get bumped. Alright, Yara... and then Arnons have to go. Those are the ones that jam. I think it's really cool watching these gigantic volleys of missiles fly off. I think it's funny. It makes me laugh. So... that was a mistake. I accidentally took them off the deltoid and sent him down into one of the other guys. That was my bad. At least they volleyed it when it came back. And then that's it. That's the end of the site. You should have to blow up the very last guy. Don't even have to turn on your guns, and just let it go. Hey, that's an entire site. The rest of the guys just warp out and you're all done. So then, just click on my home button and mouse wheel down, and then all the drones come back home. So that's an entire site. Probably went a little bit slower than normal, but you know, it's like free money right there. So anyways, if you have any questions, you can post and I'll get back to you.